afternoon and welcome to Tetewathá Partyline Talkshow. I'm your host, Wihse Stacey, and today we have a two-parter on the show. Coming up in the second half, I have Jody Jacobs and Gunwat Malash who'll be joining me. We'll be talking about the Kahnawake Winter Classic that's coming up during, actually, I believe the New Year's holiday. But first up, I'm joined by members of the Emergency Locations Maps Committee, and that is Arnold Lazare, who's the Director of Public Safety, Frank Phillips, who's representing the Kahnawake Peacekeepers, and my favorite, Wihse Stacey from the Kahnawake Fire Brigade. And I'm saying that sarcastically because he was picking on me already.
It's just so much fun.
I know. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. And I hear we're ready to break the project, it's ready to bust out now.
Yes, Luann.
So maybe Arnold, give us a little bit of background on how this came to be and what's basically going to happen here.
Well, the community is growing exponentially, and our responders are getting younger, and with the increase in people, increase in housing, increase in development, there's a real risk in the sense of people not being able to find people, especially in emergency situations. It's well documented that minutes and seconds can save lives. So in order to address this situation, the public safety unit, in conjunction with the Peacekeepers and the fire brigade, moved ahead on a non-political system to identify places so that the responders can find them quickly. And the result is the emergency location system. Other people call it civic addressing, but this is a system that is intended solely for emergency responders, where people will be able to give a house number and a street, and the emergency responders will know exactly where they're going. Now, what? So people, we've used a logic system that Frank's going to talk about on placing numbers on houses. And what it's not going to be, and this is where the confusion has come in, we're not putting up street signs. We're not sharing the house numbers with Post Canada or UPS or Tahiti Restaurant. It's an internal system designed for the emergency responders. We're not collecting any information about who's at the location. It's really an emergency response system. Now, down the line, if there's a particular hazard like a propane tank, there is the possibility to add layers of information. Like one thing that the fire brigade will be able to do is layer the fire hydrants, so that if there's say a fire at 123 somewhere, they will have either a mini computer, a tablet, or an iPad. We haven't any modern device. It will have the house number and the hydrant, and more importantly, it will also give directions to the house. It's like a Google Maps, but it's a Kahnawake version for emergency responders only. So they have once again it's getting more and more common where people are asking, where do you live now? Frank will talk about the dispatchers, when the dispatchers like Peter Thomas and Robert Sky, they pretty much knew everybody and where everybody lived. The responders pretty much knew where everybody lived, but the community's grown at such a rate that we don't know, and that is a big concern.
Okay, Frank, you're going to fill us in now on technology, I guess a little part of it, and
well, part of it, we'll go with the backbone of it. This has been needed for a lot of years to get exact locations. In my experience, I've been over 30 years working for the Peacekeepers. And since the new development area came up, OSHA, some of the new areas where people have been building, we have no idea who lives there a lot of times now, so you have to call and describe exactly where you live so we can find it, since there's no street names or numbers. The technical side, we've been using a computerized system since 2000 at the Peacekeepers for dispatching and report writing. And one of the modules that we're activating on the dispatches is the mapping with this, because it was never available before, so now it's going to be available, and it's going to be that much quicker for our officers to respond.
I have a question for you. Will anybody else be able to access that system? It's an independent system?
It's independent, it's internal, it's just for the Peacekeepers, and it's probably going to be a module given to the fire department also, so they can access it.
Okay, because I think that's one of the concerns, Arnold, last time you were on the show, where people were concerned that this information was going to be given
to
out.
The public.
Yes,
and
yes.
That was discussed earlier on, and it was never the intention. So a lot of the worries that were out in the community, it was based on rumor, unfortunately.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Lots of hearsay.
But I can see the difficulty in trying to find someone. I went out that way just for a drive in the summertime, and I didn't know anybody who lived there. I didn't know houses. I didn't know, and I know a lot of people. Yeah. But it was like, wow.
I live in South Texas, and I couldn't even tell you half the people who live out there anymore.
I forgot you lived there.
It's grown so fast.
Yeah. No, but it has. And then I'm thinking of people who've built outside, you know, on the farms and those areas too. When you ride in the back, it's exactly. Like, I wouldn't know who lives out there. I mean, you would know McGregor's farm and you know, little smaller communities, but now people have gone way out to the outer side of the community.
And that's the new issues. The old issues that we have is depending on the age of the person, they know, like, we can still use landmarks, like, right. But some of the famous landmarks we'd say is who knows it as Pickup Corner,
right?
Joe Stock's Corner, the funeral parlor. That's more modern, but so there's. Once again, like even OSHA is old schoolhouse area, and depending on which generation, there's different areas because it's just grown, and the potential for something bad happening is there, and this is what this system was done, is to eliminate the confusion. A lot of people have said, I don't want you to number my house. Once again, we are not putting numbers on any house. If the people give a house number, the internal system will show it exactly where it is. So there's a lot of, once again, we're not putting we're trying to take away the misconceptions. People were concerned that we're going to turn into a municipality, and we're questioning what will this do, because it's an internal system. Right now, if you currently look on Google Maps or TomTom, or there's street names. Now, in the future, when council will once this gets accepted, if the community wants, things can change. In terms of the design, what has happened is. All the roads have been given names. Now, there's commonly accepted names like Sesame Street, O'Malone, Phillips Road, and even on Google, these roads are wrong. So the committee has looked at the various agencies, TomTom, UP, and we've corrected the street names. So that we know. I mean, and that's really the responders need to know. And there was a bunch of streets or areas that didn't have names, so we've taken Mohawk names, relatively easier Mohawk names, and have assigned it to streets. And we've gone by themes. Like there's one area of town that'll be trees, birch and maple, and another part is animals. So the people and there'll be Moha Ganyageha names. So we've assigned it arbitrarily. I'll use an example. Is the off the 207, we have the street sign that's there that somebody arbitrarily put up was Peter Foxy Road.
Yes.
Other people know it as Mary Deer Road, and other people know it as Hemlock Road.
Wow.
The good thing with this system is because it's computerized, they can type in any three of the names. So if somebody identifies it as Hemlock, it will show up as the house number is not going to change. It'd be number 4, but the 3 street names would be are searchable. So we've eliminated that. The way the numbering was put is now if a house is on the north side of the road, it has an odd number. If it's on the south side, it has an even. If it's on the east side, same thing. So all the once again we have a technician that did the house numbering, but it's a consistent system where we you know that if you got an odd number, it's going to be on this side. If it's going to be an even number, it's on the other. One of the items that we're doing tomorrow is we're going to be showing people. One is they'll be able to see what their house number and house name is assigned. We are aware that there's a lot of glitches. And before the system goes in effect, we want people to start looking at it. And that's the purpose behind the kiosks for the next 2 Wednesdays. We would like people to identify their house and see if that's what they understand. One of the issues we had, and I'll say, is my house is located on what's known as Bova Road. I mean, that's the community knows it. When we did the assigning, the Semper Wi-Fi internet company had that. When we did the numbering, it actually thought that it was on Rabaska Road when the entrance was actually on Bova Road. So these are the little glitches that we're looking for. The fire brigade and the peacekeepers have been very vigilant in looking and identifying where places are. One item that is a Kahnawake reality is there's private family roads. What was the designation we were using?
It's going to be driveways.
Driveways, but we would, if it was a common road or a road that was used but not signed over.
PRW, private right-of-way.
Private right-of-way. We acknowledge that it, once again, people would say, well, it's a private right-of-way. It shouldn't be on a map. We acknowledge it. But for emergency responders, it will be indicated right on the electronic map that it is a private right-of-way and not a road, which is one reason we're not sending it to Google or that's none of their business. We aren't collecting any information, so Luann, nobody will know if there's 2 or 100 people living at your house. Depending on the weekend, powwow weekend.
Knows? Yeah, like
powwow weekend, all your friends come in.
Because I think Frankie and I talked about that, and I think for some people that was a big issue, just from reading Facebook and talking to people, that all of a sudden people are going to find people, look for people, and then there's, the other side, where some people just don't want people to know where they are, and that's their privacy and that's their right. However, when you're talking emergency, that 5-minute to 20-minute wait time could be someone's life.
For sure. The map is still a work in progress right now. That's why we have the kiosks going. Yeah. Get more feedback for it. Right now we have the peacekeeper, our dispatchers, and some of the officers are looking through the map. Wihse's got the firemen doing the same thing. We're going through it, see where there's glitches, where there's errors, and we're trying to get everything where we want it to be.
So now the purpose of the kiosk this Wednesday, meaning tomorrow and next Wednesday, what time and how long is it going to be open, and what can people expect when they get there?
The plan is to go from 9 till 4, and they can come in and look at the version we're using, the latest version, and they will be able to come in and show them their house number. They'll see the street name, and we can once again check and see that it's on the right, the entrance is on the right road direction, and then the intent is in mid to late January, once we get the glitches out, a house-to-house system will be done. The intention is to get fridge magnets that are markable, and telephone stickers, unless that changed.
It's still the plan.
It's still the plan. Says so that people will be given their emergency location numbers, and once again, once the glitches have been done and the magnets have been handed out, people will be. The system will be in effect, and I think the community will be that much more safer.
When are you looking to launch this? By the new year?
We're hoping for January 21st at this point.
Okay.
We're hoping that by that point, everybody in the community will be aware of what their street number is, what their street name and number are. If there are still some people out there who don't, by all means, you could still say, I live next to the green tree by the big rock. You know, the old system still worked.
Right. That was my question.
It wasn't a fail-safe method, but
right.
it did function for how many years. So, but by January 21st, we're hoping to have it full functional.
And then as people move, there'll be updates. I would assume that people can call somewhere to update it. An example, because we have people who rent homes, and as they move,
But we're not collecting. We're not collecting.
Not collecting names of who's where.
Okay,
It's just to identify the location.
Okay, so each house then should keep that magnet. And,
the house, the
house
number
itself
stays with
is
the
same.
house. So
Has
if
nothing to do with people.
If somebody's renting on Blind Ladies Hill,
right.
and they move to Old Malone Highway, they would use the Old Malone Highway, the house number on Blind Ladies Hill.
Okay, perfect. I'm glad I asked that question. We'll clarify it.
And that's good. That's why.
Yeah.
And also we're looking to see if people have questions like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've some of the background information. I know the fire chief in Tyendinaga, and they went with a little bit different system, but it's basically a similar system, and I think they had 2 community members object, and after 2 months, the community members came in to ask for them. They put up street signs with house numbers. Came in, and it does make it easier for emergency responders, and that's the whole purpose.
I have another question. In terms of if people have questions, can't make it to the kiosk, and want to talk to someone about it, who can they contact?
Well, anyone. I mean, I'm in my office. My email is arnold.lazare@mck.ca. They can phone the council office, and it'll be transferred to my number. I mean, we're looking for questions. I would, if people have questions or concerns, they're more than welcome to bring it in. We will be, demonstrating, and we think once people look at it, they'll see that it's not. I mean, it's not the monster that people think it is, and it is going to make responding faster.
Yeah. Any other comments, gentlemen?
The fire hall started something similar years ago, and this was actually one of the big hurdles that we had. We don't have an official method to number homes or to label homes, and I think that this solution is ideal. We try to label houses out on the farm because, like Arnold mentioned earlier, it's expanding exponentially. There's no way to keep track, and people move constantly. So this is the ideal solution. Whether people approve of it, I hope they come to understand why we're doing what we're doing.
And
it's
I mean,
in the name of emergency.
And
safety.
it's not just ambulance, it's fires too. You know, that 15, 20 minutes, boy, oh boy, could make a big difference. Or Christmas tree,
Yeah, the
let's say.
Christmas tree,
I'm sorry,
yeah.
I had that on my mind,
Yeah.
but, you know, but it's true. You know, it could make a difference.
Yeah.
Frankie?
The only other thing I had to comment on this, anybody that's going to be building a new home from now on, please let us know about it, and so we can provide you with this a safety feature for your new home.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Wihse, Frankie, and Arnold. And if you get a chance, get out to the kiosk tomorrow between 9 and 4, as well as next Wednesday for emergency locations mapping. And if you have questions, please ask people. I think that's probably the best thing that anybody can do. Thank you, gentlemen.
No.
We'll
you.
take a break and we'll be right back.
Come out to